Alright, so welcome back to my channel, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of a decluttering video because I noticed I'm a hoarder and I need to get rid of all my makeup. So honestly, I don't know why I'm keeping all of them in my collection, so I want to go ahead and do it with you guys and get rid of a whole bunch of makeup. So you guys want to go ahead and see what I'm getting rid of, then go ahead and keep on watching. Alright, so the first drawer is my primer drawer, and the first thing that I see is my NYX Angel Veil. You guys have heard me talk about this before, but it's not a terrible primer, but for me, it makes me a little bit too oily and greasy towards the end of the day. So I never touch it, I never use it. It's about time to get rid of it. I do know it's a lot of people's favorites out there, and it does work for their skin, but for me, it just doesn't work. So this has got to go. So the next primer I have is the Milani Prime Shield Primer, and I've probably had this for about a year or two now. I never pick it up anymore because I do have a lot of favorites out here. Y'all know my Kane and Austin. I do love this primer so much, and my Melanie Mills Clean Body Radiance, do love that one too. So I never reach for this ever, but at the same time, it is a great pore control primer, so I do recommend it. But for me, I just never use it anymore, so I'm gonna get rid of this one. So moving on to my foundation and concealer drawer, this is my biggest problem because I have a lot of concealers and foundation. Alright, so starting with the foundation, the first thing I want to get rid of is my NARS Sheer Matte Foundation in the shade Benares. This is too orange and red for my skin tone. I do love the Sheer Glow Foundation, this one right here in the shade Macao, but the Sheer Matte is a little bit too dry for my skin. So altogether, this is just too dry. It's orange and red, so I never pick it up ever. So moving on to the next foundation, I do have the Black Opal Stick Foundation in the shade Hazelnut. This is too red for my skin. I heard so many good things about this foundation, so I decided to go ahead and pick it up, but it's too red for my skin. Let me give y'all a quick swatch. So this is what it looks like on my skin. It does look like it will match me on camera, but in person it's just too dark. So this one has got to go. So moving on to the Black Opal True Color Liquid Foundation. I do have it in the shade All Chocolate. This is such a good drugstore foundation, but at the same time, I've had it for about a year or two now, so it's time to get rid of it. And also for my skin type, I am oily, you guys do know that. So this is kind of like a dewy foundation. It's definitely not a matte foundation. So by the end of the day, I'm a little bit oily. So I do love it, but at the same time, it just doesn't work for my skin type. So another foundation I want to get rid of is the L'Oreal True Matte Foundation in the shade Cappuccino. This foundation, I mean, it's been around for years at this point, so I went ahead and picked it up the other week or so. I don't know how I feel about it. It's a good foundation, but it's just not the best I've tried. It doesn't do anything for my skin. It's not a dewy or matte foundation. It's like a very in-between foundation. So I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about it. That's the best way to put it. I never reach for it. I never use it. It just sits in my collection and collect dust. So with that being said, I'm gonna get rid of this one too. Alright, so moving on to concealer. The first one that I see is Amazing Cosmetics Concealer in the shade Dark Caramel. This is a good concealer because it does have a lot of coverage, but at the same time, the color is a little bit off for me. Let me go ahead and show y'all. So this is what it looks like on my skin tone, and for my under eyes, it's a little bit too light. At the same time, I feel like the coverage is a little bit too heavy for my under eyes, so it just doesn't work. So moving on to the next concealer, this one kind of pains me because it's so expensive, and I spend so much money on this. This is a NARS Soft Matte Concealer in the shade Amande, and I know Jackie always talks about it, but for me, it's a little bit too heavy for my under eyes. I probably use it about once or twice now, and I do like it, but I just don't love it. Whenever I put it underneath my eyes, it does crease. It looks a little bit too heavy and cakey for my under eyes. I do know I did a review of this on my channel, and I do like the concealer, but out of all the concealers that I have right now, I just don't ever go ahead and pick it up. So with that being said, it pains me, but I have to get rid of it. Okay, so the next concealer, this is a KKW concealer stick, and y'all already know how I feel about it. It's a little bit too drying. I don't ever pick it up. The coverage is not the best out there. And yeah, it just sits in my collection, so y'all already know. It's gotta go. Alright, so moving on to my powder slash bronzer drawer. I do have the first product, and this is a Sacha Buttercup powder. You guys already know how I feel about this. It's a little bit too cakey for my under eyes, and it just doesn't work. When it first came out, there was a lot of hype about it. Everybody said it was good, so I used it for about a year till I realized it just didn't work for my skin. So yeah, I know Shayla loves it. A lot of people out there love this powder, but for me, it just doesn't work. Alright, so the next product is the Black Opal Deluxe Finishing Powder in the shade Dark 4. I've had this for about 2 years now, so I do need to get rid of it. Also, I do want to mention the color is a little bit too dark for my skin tone, because whenever I use it on my skin, I ended up looking orange and red. I was like, what is going on? So I probably need to go ahead and pick up a different color. And also the oil control is not the best with this. It does say it has an oil control effect to it, but it just doesn't control mine at all. So this next one is a little bit of a shocker to some people, but the Sephora Micro Smooth powder. Y'all know Alyssa Ashley always talks about this powder, but I told you guys this powder, when I go ahead and put it on my face, it makes it a little bit too orange, but as a bronzer it does work. So even though it does work as a bronzer, I never reach for it because I do have my CoverGirl bronzer, my NARS Gianna contour blush, and so on, so I never use this. So I might as well go ahead and get rid of it and stop hoarding it because I don't know, I just want to love it. Alright, so we move to the other side, and the first drawer I do have is my blush drawer. So the one that I want to get rid of first is my Milani Baked Powder Blush in the shade Luminoso. This just doesn't show up on my skin. It just looks like a sparkly, glittery mess. Like, I do not like it. Somebody told me another one that they do have by Milani is really good for my skin tone, but I have to go ahead and pick that one up. But this one just does not work at all. So the Milk Makeup Lip and Cheek Blush, or I'm not sure what you call this. This is just, it's one of those products that if you want to go for that beachy natural look, go ahead and use this. But for me, it just doesn't show up on my skin. When I go ahead and blend it out, it just doesn't look like there's anything on there. So I never use this, I never pick it up, it's gotta go. So another blush I want to get rid of is a Kat Von D blush in the shade Hansel and Gretel. It does have a good concept going on here, but it just doesn't show up on my skin at all. So I never use this one. And also the, what's it called? Black Radiance blush in the shade Toasted Almond. I really do like this for my skin tone, but at the same time, it's probably 2 years old, 2.5 years old at this point, and I need to go ahead and get rid of it. Like, it's been a while at this point. So these two gotta get rid of. I almost forgot this one here. This is the e.l.f. Superstar liquid blush, and it looks good on the skin, but when you go ahead and apply it and try to blend it out, it looks a little bit chunky. Like, I don't know if y'all can see that. It just doesn't blend into the skin like I would like it to. So I mean, it's only $3, I can't complain at all, but at the same time, it doesn't work that well like I would like it to. So yeah, there wasn't much in the highlighter drawer, but the next section is like my eyelash, mascara, eyeliner, all that good stuff section. There's so much stuff in here, y'all. Like, I wish you can see it. So all the products I have in my hand are like miscellaneous items. They just all do like a bunch of different stuff. The first one is the e.l.f. Makeup Remover Pen. I haven't used this in a year, and it's probably dried out, so getting rid of that one. On the NYX base, I don't even know the name of this because it's completely gone. Like, this is probably old, like really, really old. All right, this Dior mascara, like, it looks so chunky, y'all. Like, it's been used. All right, so the next one is the NYX Eyebrow Shaper. This is a little bit too greasy for my brows. And the NYX Lip Primer, I think I got this about a year or two ago. Honestly, I don't need a lip primer. I go ahead and just scrub my lips and it's fine, so I don't ever use this one. This is the Prestige Brow Perfection Clear Brow Gel. This has nothing in it. It's old, it's brown, like, it's about that time. And the last one is the Dolce Max Lash Volumizer. That one kind of looks good. All right, so this is what I have in my basket right now. Honestly, I did not know that I had this much products to get rid of. Pretty excited right now. So the last drawer is my eyeshadow drawer, and a lot of the stuff in here I do use. I mean, I use my Jaclyn Hill palette, my Essentials palette that I built, my Subculture palette. I'm trying to see what I don't use in here. So the palettes that I'm getting rid of are basically Wet n Wild and also LA Girls. I mean, these colors I know I'm never going to use. This is a Wet n Wild Fergie collection palette that came out years ago. Honestly, haven't touched it. The Wet n Wild Tunnel Vision palette. This one's a good smoky eye palette, but I do have other shadows in here I would prefer over this one. And the last one is the LA Girl Matte Colors eyeshadow palette. It has such a beautiful color scheme. At the same time, it doesn't show up on my skin that well, so I'm gonna get rid of this. But basically everything in here I do like. So my camera did die, of course, but I do have the ColourPop liquid lipsticks. I have so many shades in here. Mars, Chili Chili, More Better, Limbo, Teeny Tiny. You guys remember all those names. I used to love these so much, but they're so old at this point. Alright, some other stuff I want to get rid of is the Makeup Revolution liquid lipsticks. These, I'm not sure if they still sell till this day because I haven't seen them in stores. But I do have the Makeup Revolution. Doesn't have a name on here, so this is kind of awkward. But I do have these 3 shades right here: a red, a dark purple, and also a light purple. So yeah, these can go too. So we're adding the liquid lipsticks. This is my total collection right here that I'm getting rid of. That is a lot of makeup. It's literally a basket of makeup in here, which is so good. So yeah, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do think it was a fun little idea because I could have done it by myself, but I wanted to go ahead and bring you guys with me. But if you guys do have any other video ideas, please let me know down below. But I love you guys so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out, and I'll see you guys in my next one.